The All-Ireland finals featuring Meath and Cork in the senior final, and of course the clash of Kerry and Dublin in the minor match. That minor match coming up at 1:30. We're looking forward to that indeed. Yet another clash of the two great traditional rivals of modern times, Dublin and Kerry. And then of course it's Meath and Cork in the senior final, a repeat of last year's final, one to look forward to. And these teams have played some marvellous football so far this summer.
Teddy McCarthy held the ball up there to Michael McCarthy here. Inside towards Colin O'Neill, his first chance to impress. If he can lay it in for Dennis Allen. Oh, it's a great goal! Liam Hayes thumping it in well towards Colin O'Rourke. Breaks down to Matty McCabe. Oh, a goal! Carvel just gets it down to Brendan Murray. Runs into two Cork players, then releases it. Barry Coffey here. Thought about a pass outside, inside for Dave Berry. Good position. Oh, great goal! A goal for Cork. 6 minutes into the second half. Brian Stafford there too as Matty McCabe turning on the right boot. And that sails over. McCabe's first point. He's looking a little faster to the play. McCabe getting it back, a split, and Jerry McEntee, a good move this. Will it finish with a score, however? It certainly does. Coyle second.
Yes, action from both teams earlier this summer, the kind of football that have taken them back again to an All-Ireland final. We anticipate a great game of football here at Croke Park this afternoon. Weather conditions are very nice for football. It's slightly overcast, but there isn't a puff of wind, and I think it's just about right for football. Now, two men who will be, I'm sure, enjoying today's game as much as anybody else in Croke Park are with me here in the presentation box. That's Dermot Flanagan, captain of Mayo this summer, and Barney Rock, of course, who needs no introduction, with Dublin. Gentlemen, you're welcome both. Dermot, of course, you've had a very good look at Meath this year, and I think you were impressed.
Yes, Meath are a very competent team. They're using the experience that they gained in winning the All-Ireland last year to telling effect, I think, and they seem to be able to raise their game in every match they've played so far.
So you'll be going for Meath?
Yes, I think they'll shade it. I think Cork are also a very talented team, and I think Cork will be anxious to make amends for last year's All-Ireland final as well, so there's a tremendous game in prospect.
Of course, really, you must go for Meath, because you're living down in Dunboyne beside Sean Boylan there. You could put some dangerous herbs in the old tea for you.
That is true, but I think, objectively speaking as well, I think Meath will use their experience and maybe to telling effect.
Well, Barney, I suppose something of the same thing could be said for yourself, because like Dermot, you also live in Meath down in Ashbourne, so are you tipping the adopted county?
Well, I think being a Leinster man, I have to go for Meath, but overall I think their strength in depth is much more than that of Cork. And it's going to be on the day, it's 15 against 15. And who knows, you know, it's 70 minutes of football, but I think Meath might do it.
Yeah.
In the
now,
end.
of course, there's the doubt about Larry Tompkins, and that would have a big bearing on things.
Indeed it will, because Larry has been one of the greater finds for Cork in the past couple of years. And I think if he's going to be out, or even if he's going to be half fit or half injured, whichever way it's going to be a big bearing on the game for them. Totally, it's up for the whole forward line to play well, but if Larry's playing to his top form, I think Cork are in there with a great chance.
Okay, Barney, well now mention of Larry Tompkins. Of course, the news was not particularly good overnight about Larry's injury. He has a hamstring injury. Now, how bad that exactly is, well, we're going to find out at Croke Park very shortly. But we have been at the Spa Hotel at the Cork headquarters this morning, and Jim Carney is reporting from there.
The Spa Hotel in Lucan is the Cork headquarters. It was a very busy scene here last night, but now on big match day, and happily for the players, it's quiet and peaceful, and the Cork party can relax and get themselves into the right frame of mind for this, the most important day in their year. Now, there's a nice touch of irony about this, because a hotel with spa in its name might well be a very appropriate choice. Certainly, healing powers are needed, for, make no mistake about it, the question on all Cork supporters' lips today is, how is Larry Tompkins?
He's in great form, his leg seems fine, and he's very happy with it himself.
I believe he was out for a run last night. How does he feel?
Perfect. He's taken frees as well, and he seems to have no problem.
And I bet that has cheered up everybody in the camp.
It's given us a great lift. The only worry we have is that it might recover during the game, but that's a chance you always take. He's certainly in great form and ready for road.
Just how worrying was it for you during the week, Con?
Well, it was a very genuine scare. He pulled it last Thursday week in training down in Dunmanway, and he hasn't trained since. And last night was his first run, but hopefully he'll be okay.
And that lifts the weight, I'm sure, off the shoulders of the other players as well.
Well, he's the inspiration of the team, and very popular with his fellow players, and we'll be looking to him today.
Now, of course, Con, as team doctor, you've got to look after more than Larry. How are the other lads?
Oh, fine, we've no problems with any of them. They're all great. Yeah. Slept well, I hope.
Good, and I bet they're all looking forward to it now.
Very much. Well, I suppose every team thinks they're in great shape before the game. 5-5 might tell something else, but so far so good.
Now, there may be a good omen for Cork, Con, because your late father, Wish Murphy, won an All-Ireland in 1945, and I gather that your mother, Anna, hasn't been at an All-Ireland since, but that she's coming today. Is that right?
That's right, yes. She hasn't been. We were hoping that it's a good luck omen. My father was full-back in the 1945 team. She didn't go to the 73 final. My father died a few weeks before it. So hopefully it's a good omen.
We hope indeed that she enjoys today's game of football. And let's hope that everything works out well for Larry Tompkins as well. A very key player in today's All-Ireland final. No matter which side you're on, hopefully he will stand up to the pressure today. Well, now, I was talking about the conditions a little bit earlier on, and one man who can tell us a bit more about them right now, because he's down on the pitch, is Enda Collar. And good day to you, Enda.
Hello,
and
Michael.
down there, it's looking nice and fine from where we are. Now, what are conditions like down on the pitch level itself?
Yes, I must say that I have never seen conditions so ideal for an All-Ireland football final. There is just a very light breeze that won't have any influence whatsoever on the play. It's dry, as you can see, and no sun in the players' eyes or anything like that. The pitch itself is in excellent condition. After the few days of summer that we've had, it has dried out beautifully. The grass is very closely cropped. That may make free taking a bit more difficult, but the pitch itself just in billiard table conditions. Now, as I say, at a time like this, players usually worry about the conditions and that, but this is something that they will not have to worry about today, because conditions absolutely perfect. So it should lead to a lot of free-flowing football, we hope, a lot of accurate kicking. As you know, the semi-finals were just spoiled by the wind, but there should be no such thing today. And as I said, at this stage, the players are in their dressing rooms, very tense and that, a lot to worry about, but certainly the conditions are ideal, and we should have a great game of football today.
And there will be no problems on a day like today for players having to choose what studs to wear or anything like that, because there should not be a change in conditions during the day.
No, none whatsoever, because I don't think we will have any rain. And as I said, the pitch is yielding, nice and soft and spongy, yielding, but most suitable for football.
Now, we spoke to Dermot Flanagan here, we spoke to Barney Rock about what their prediction would be on the game. So I think it's only appropriate, Enda, that we ask you to nail your colours to the mast as well.
Yes, of course, a lot will depend on the condition of Larry Tompkins, how he plays, whether his injury will hamper him or not. But I think it's going to be a terribly close game. Cork are a better team than last year. I think Meath will possibly play better than they've played in the championship up to now. I think there'll probably be only a point or two in it in the end. I think that Meath might just get through.
Okay, Enda, well, thank you very much indeed for your comments. Now let me turn back to the panel again, because let us not forget the minors of Dublin and Kerry that we'll be seeing on the pitch here very, very shortly. And Dermot Flanagan, what do you think of this minor match today? Have you had a chance to see either of minor teams in any detail this summer?
Well, I think we have a very exciting game in prospect. One thing I noticed about present-day minor teams, they're very big teams, big, strong teams. They usually have big full forward and big midfielders. So I'm looking forward in this game. Both Kerry and Dublin have big, strong teams, some very good forwards around. I'm particularly impressed with the Dublin full forward line, and they have a big full forward with two very fast corner forwards. And I was impressed by the Dublin forward line through the championship, and they would be my favourite for the minor title.
Well, Barney, it's not so long ago since I was watching yourself as a young, innocent minor down there playing for Dublin. I presume you'd fancy your own lads to do well today?
Well, we'll be hoping that they do well. I think that they will do it on the day, because I think they have got the strength throughout the team. I think Kerry are always bad in the final, you know. You can never tell which way they're going to play. And I think that we're in for a good final prospect. I would be hoping that if Dublin get enough balls into the full forward line, that with the big Senate Myland there and the two corner forwards and even half forwards coming through, I think we'll get enough scores to win it.
Barney, we often talk about the atmosphere in the dressing room for senior players and how they're feeling, but of course it's much more so for minors because they're really only young fellas, and this is all a very, very new experience for them.
Indeed it is. You know, I'd say at the moment now they've been togged off. They're getting their team talks to them, and all they're doing is just wanting to get out in the field. It's a big occasion for any minor, like, you know, and once they get onto the field, I think that their nerves will be finished with.
Can you remember back to your own days in the minor jersey playing with Dublin here and how you were feeling going out there for the first time in Croke Park?
Indeed I can, Michael. It was a great honour to be playing with Dublin. And we played against Mayo in one final and we played against Kerry in the other. So, you know, with Dermot here and with the Kerry lads coming up. So I think it should be good, you know, and you know, it'll be an interesting game.
OK, Barney, well, thank you for the moment. But now, looking around Croke Park here, I'm sure you see behind Barney and Dermot a lot of empty seats because the people are just beginning to come into Croke Park now. But coming to Croke Park this morning, well, you could certainly see the atmosphere begin to build up around the streets of Dublin. A lot more Cork supporters on the streets, I suppose, because they've been up before the weekend. The Meath supporters will be heading in from about this on now into Croke Park and surrounding areas. Well, Gerard Canning has been down and about and meeting some of the people that have been arriving early to Croke Park here today.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Welcome down here to the Canal Bridge, and we've got some pessimistic Cork fans here. Does anybody think you're going to win? Okay, lads.
We wouldn't be here otherwise.
You're optimistic. What about you, sir?
Well, I think we're a much better team this year than last year.
Worried about Larry Tompkins' injury?
Well, I think we've been capable of replacing him. Dave Barry will probably move out on the 40 and Colin O'Neill come in. I think we're just as good.
There's a lady here supporting Meath. You're optimistic, I'm sure.
Oh no, we're going to definitely win this year. Definitely.
You're swallowed up in a sea of Corkmen here. What about you?
I believe Cork have a much better team this year. I think their forward line in particular is vastly improved, and I certainly will be looking to forwards for Cork to win this All-Ireland on today.
Dennis Allen and Dave Barry.
Dave Barry certainly will be great assets to today's team, in my opinion. I think we're much more strengthened in that sector. So I would be reasonably confident that hopefully we'll win anyway.
Easy now, lads. Your mothers are watching, lads.
As you know, in any game, luck plays a tremendous part, and hopefully luck will be in Cork's favour today.
Does indeed. What about these people over here? What do you think?
Cork to win, easily.
Easily, but how much?
4 points, 5 points.
You'll be happy with that?
Happy with that, yeah.
What about the pressure on a team losing a final then having to come back next year?
They're better forwards this year than last year. And Corrigan for the full match this year, hopefully against Stafford, and he'll take care of it.
What about this man here?
Oh, I think Cork should shade about 2 or 3 points. Very
Have
close
we any
game.
Meath supporters at all? Wait around. How do you think the match will go?
Meath all the way today. 5 points in the end, definitely. 5 points in the end, just like last year.
No, really?
If Cork are leading with about 10 minutes to go, about 2 points, we'll battle our way through and win in the
Right, lads, the one thing we haven't heard so far is that great song, Here We Go. Let's have it, come on.
Yes, indeed. Well, one very brave Meath supporter sticking his head into the crowd there and predicting such an easy victory for Meath in the end. Well, one advantage that the Meath team have over Cork is the fact that, as I was saying earlier, they don't have to travel that far for today's match. But Mick Dunn has been out meeting the team this morning.
Meath started arriving at the Grand Hotel in Malahide about 11 o'clock. Anne Burton, the physiotherapist, and Pádraig Lyons. Next, Jerry McEntee and Kevin Foley. David Beggy, Bernard Flynn, they stroll in. Colm O'Rourke is there too and looking happy. Joe Castles, who's been on the team for over 14 years. Mick Lyons, who'll be captaining the team. Colm O'Rourke, one of the veterans of football, and I asked their county chairman, Fintan Ginnity, if he could report that everything was okay.
Yes, thanks be to God. We all met last night and all players are all well, thank God.
It was in that training session before the Leinster final that Brian Stafford was injured, really. Nothing happened last night.
Nothing happened. We can assure you that we're fielding a full team. Thanks be to God, Brian is fit and well.
Liam Creevan, you've had lots of late nights. I believe it wasn't too early when you got to bed last night, but all the tickets are now gone, I suppose.
Thank God. And today I'm not feeling quite as confident as last year this time, but I'll make a prediction. We won't lose. Perhaps we'll have a draw. Dread the thought.
I see. Why are you not as confident as last year?
Well, I think Cork have improved and their forwards seem to be better. And I think that they'll pull out all the stops to win this All-Ireland.
What's the attitude in the team like compared to last year?
Again, very anxious and keen to make a record for me that is the second All-Ireland in a row. So I think they too will give it their best.
What was it like this year for the search for tickets compared to last year?
Unbelievable. The hurling final was bad, the football final was twice as bad. Really bad.
And now Liam Finton is talking about the 2 in a row there. Galway have already made it. Are Meath going to do the same?
Oh, I think I'm a little bit more confident now than Liam. I have no doubt in the world, but we're going to win today.
Confidence words there from the Meath camp this morning as they look forward to this afternoon's game, as indeed we do ourselves, of course. Now, one thing about Cork going into the All-Ireland Championship or the All-Ireland Series is first they must get rid of Kerry in Munster. And no matter how well Cork are playing at any stage, well, that hurdle is a very difficult one to jump over. However, they managed to do that for the second time in succession this summer.
Dennis Allen into open space, and it's Shea Fahy. Oh, he took up a very good position, and there's the bare minimum separating these sides. Tompkins out Dave Barry and taking the return himself. This ball in. Oh, taken by Charlie Nelligan from Teddy McCarthy at point-blank range. He must have seen it awfully late, and he wins the free out for his troubles. That was a very good save. There's plenty of time remaining, 12 minutes out of the second half. Teddy McCarthy held the ball up there to Michael McCarthy here. Inside towards Colin O'Neill, his first chance to impress. If he can lay it in for Dennis Allen. Oh, it's a great goal! And so can Power and Liston bring Kerry back into it. Time is on their side if they're good enough. Maurice Fitzgerald. That looks good. 2 points between them. Cork 114, Kerry 15 points. So they've got to go for a goal and hope that they can win it by 1. Maurice Fitzgerald's the taker. The little chip high and over the bar, and it's a 1-point game. Tony Davis. Cork, remember, playing with the breeze, so they'll be anxious to build up a good lead. This is Larry Tompkins. Flicking it with the outside of the boot, delightfully put over the bar by Tompkins. Is a wonderful player. Towards David Byrne. Towards Stephen White, gathered well. Tackled by Dennis Walsh. Referee allows an advantage at goal breaks to Nudie Hughes. Hughes carrying it forward well. Great interception by Shea Fahy when it was targeted in towards Stephen White. That was a great interception by Fahy. A good piece of work. Conor Coonahan down towards Dave Barry. Barry hasn't scored so far. He's put that right now, though. Jerry McConnell just gets it down to Brendan Murray. Runs into 2 Cork players, then releases it. Barry Coffey here. Thought about a pass outside, inside for Dave Barry. Good position. Oh, great goal! Teddy McCarthy on a burst through the middle. 10 points the margin. Cork the leaders. Oh, it comes off the crossbar. Down from the woodwork to McCarthy, who was alert. 11 points now separating these teams.
Yeah, some of the scorers that have taken Cork to their second All-Ireland final in a row, and we anticipate that coming up very, very shortly this afternoon. Well, the Meath supporters are beginning to fill into Hill 16, which you're looking at now, the new hill. And as Dublin supporters have done so often in the past down in All-Ireland finals, well, it's Meath's turn for the past 2 years. And the hill getting quite full even at this very early stage in the day now. The other side of the field, you will see the Cork supporters. They have taken the canal end today, and they've already moved in great style.
Liam Hayes thumping it in well towards Colm O'Rourke. Breaks down to Matty McCabe. Oh, a goal! Peary trying to go through 3 Meath men. And Colin Coyle is back there playing, as we say, around the middle of the field, up towards Colm O'Rourke. Takes it well ahead of Hargan. Good pass to Bernard Flynn. Flynn's got the goalkeeper out. Chance of a goal. Second goal for Meath. Here it comes to Gillick. Oh, it's taken an eternity, but it's there. Dublin needing a goal, but Meath absolutely refusing to yield anything. Space at a premium, and look at this for good backup support. Reaches Joe Castles. Trying to get the ball inside. PJ Gillick shoots. Oh, fingertip save away by John O'Leary over the bar. And that should seal it, I think. Redmond, deep, towards Vinnie Murphy. Drops down, looking for a goal. They must get a goal here if they're going to stay in. Is it a penalty? Referee's whistle sounds it must be. Yes, it's a penalty. A penalty for Dublin. Would you believe it? We have a minute and 25 seconds gone in injury time, and the fans on the hill, will they be able to look? Oh, he's put it over the bar! Oh, dear me! It's gone over the bar, and the champions Meath live on, but just about. That's neatly taken by Colm O'Rourke. Foul, but the referee allows an advantage. Into Flynn. Trying to round Jimmy Brown, taking it on the outside, then inside on the left-hand boot. Across it goes to McCabe, and that's Colin Coyle over the bar. And Martin O'Connell, Anthony Finnerty, the Mayo player. Cork Lions, very mobile Meath team. Colm O'Rourke. Chip on towards Jinxie. David Beggy. Once again, angling for the score. And he's put it over. Quickly dispatched forward, but cut out by Frank Noon, right half back. Mayo looking for a little bit more penetration. And a bit more effort as well. Noel Durkin here. Joe Lindsay's loose inside, but he's held up. And elected to kick to Dennis Carney, who's now playing up around the half-forward line. Fisted down into space. They waited for it, weren't expecting it. McHale, the shot, a goal! Kevin Foley, who's played really well and steadily at right half-back. Down it comes to Dennis Carney. 6.5 minutes to go. Dennis Carney in. McQuillan ponders, mixes, and Finnerty dispatches it to the back of the net. Oh, what a turnabout!
Meath's path to today's All-Ireland final, as described to us there, of course, by our commentator, Gerard Canning. Well, now perhaps Gerard Canning is the man who knows more about these two teams than anybody else in Croke Park here today. And is that, of course, a part of his brief in preparing for today's All-Ireland final. Well, let's talk to Gerard now for a moment before he gets into the commentary of the afternoon. And Gerard, I'm sure you're also looking forward to a good game of football today.
I certainly am, Michael, because I suppose when we review the season, though we've seen some fabulous moments there and some great scores, it hasn't been a great football season so far. So we are looking for a really good showpiece final. I think Gaelic Games very badly needs it.
Gerard, going into this final, we've been hearing about injuries, real and maybe sometimes imagined by various players. It always seems to be the case coming up to a big match like that. Now, we know that Larry Tompkins' case is a genuine one, but how often do you think some of the other injuries are more psychological than physical, if you like?
Well, I'd say it must happen on occasions, Michael. I won't name names, but we all know there are certain players, and the tension really does get to them, and I think they need an escape valve, and they get that through an injury, real or imaginary. It all comes down to this thing called pressure. I remember the night before the All-Ireland hurling final having a little chat with Johnny Clifford about this thing we call pressure. What is it? Where does it come from? It's an inbuilt thing. It's the great expectations we have of ourselves, the feeling that we do not want to be a failure or let our colleagues down on the big day. And I suppose it all comes back to management as well. If the managers can get their players settled down, relaxed, performing to their optimum, then that's as much as they can hope to do.
Well, Gerard, the fact, of course, cannot be ignored in your commentary going into this All-Ireland final that you are a Cork man. Now, how much can you set your county loyalties aside? I mean, I know that you will be objective, but surely at the back of your mind, you must still have a grow for the home county nonetheless.
Well, obviously that is true, but I see this as a marvellous TV spectacle, and I'm delighted, and it's a pleasure to be part of that spectacle. And when the two teams get out there, well, they're two teams of 15 aside. I have as many friends on the Cork team as I think I have on the Meath team, thanks be to goodness. Can I tell you this little small story, Michael, however? Since I started doing All-Ireland finals on Channel 1 in 1985, something rather strange has happened, and that is that the winning team in each of the All-Ireland finals in hurling and football so far has emerged from the same dressing room down here. And the team occupying that dressing room this afternoon is Cork.
Well, I suppose, Gerard, that's as good an indication of any for today's All-Ireland final. I'm sure that you'll be hoping that that tradition, if you like, continues.
From Summerhill, bidding for a 2 in a row at the completion of a season which has also seen them lift the league trophy in front of their great supporters, captained, as we say, by Mick Lyons. A very determined looking Mick Lyons, and the fans, well, they've occupied Hill 16, the ticket allocation for Meath obviously directed their fans to that part of the ground. And so they line up rather nervously, rather tense for their photographs. Rather odd indeed when you think about it that we rarely get a really good team photograph after a team has won the All-Ireland, because of course that's because the teams have won the cup at that stage. Meath at boiling point. Indeed, Boylan's babes they're being called as well. This Meath side which has beaten Louth, Offaly, Dublin and Mayo to reach this final. And time now to take a check on Meath's starting line-out. And Sean Boylan and his selectors opt for the strongest starting 15 available, which means that despite injury scares about Jerry McEntee and David Beggy and PJ Gillick, the side is identical to that which started against Mayo. Just 2 changes from last year. Cork Lions is back in defence, Matty McCabe at half forward, and they replace Terry Ferguson and Joe Castles. However, both demoted players in the list of 6 subs, and we've already seen Mick Lyons there, the marvellous captain. He really rallied his side on more than one occasion this year with simply sterling performances on the fringe of the small square. And there's the great Brian Stafford, steady as a rock in last year's All-Ireland final. 7 points was his final contribution. He hit 9 against Mayo in August, having missed the Leinster final because of an injury. And Colm O'Rourke got the game's only goal, you remember, after 25 minutes of last year's final, from which point on Meath really took command against Cork. Against Mayo, he got 2 points. Here's Matty McCabe, sent off, by the way, in a club fixture the night after the semi-final win. He served his suspension, and in spite of a promising form last year, well, he simply failed to get into the team for the final last year. Kevin Foley, here he is, who suffered the ignominy of dismissal in the early stages of the league final replay in May, but he's been playing brilliantly since. Moving on to Martin O'Connell, who's firmly entrenched himself now in that number 7 shirt, where his anticipation is simply marvellous. And Liam Hornan, he's been the county's regular centre-half back now since the commencement of the league season in 1985. He's got the task, of course, of subduing Larry Tompkins this afternoon. And moving into the substitutes there, and some very good substitutes indeed at their disposal in Meath. But Robbie O'Malley here, McQuillan here, the goalkeeper, one of the game's top goalkeepers. Reflexes very good, and only rarely does he concede what could be called a soft goal. Well, we were looking just a moment ago at Kevin Foley. Meanwhile, up at the other end, the Cork players, of course, going through their warm-up process as well. Referee is Tommy Sugar, 34 years of age, the first Kerry official to handle an All-Ireland football final since 1949, when Dan Ryan had the honour. So they come across then for the presentation of the teams to the President of Ireland. Great honour for Tommy Sugar, who handled the Meath versus Mayo semi-final with aplomb, I felt. We're going to have the toss over here, which is very convenient for all and sundry on the Hogan stand. Mick Lyons would seem to have won. Rather unusual stand, isn't it, over the Nally stand on the right. Hogan stand way in the distance from our camera, way up behind Hill 16, providing panoramic views of what is a spectacular setting. One of the great occasions of the year. Dennis Walsh is sharing that great occasion for the 2nd year in succession, a solid and dependable cornerback. There's Shea Fahy, Cork's man of the match in the semi-final when he dominated at midfield. Disappointed somewhat in last year's final, and he's hoping for a repeat of his semi-final performance this afternoon. Niall Cahalane here, one of the game's great markers. In the last 2 games in the championship, he's subdued Pat Spillane and Nudie Hughes. In fact, the Monaghan man failed to score against him. That's Tony Davis, plays in what many people consider to be his ideal position, wing back, but he was at cornerback last year where he performed with great credit. Tony Nation, one of the players from the Cork County champions Nemo Rangers. He plays with them indeed as a very effective wing forward, scoring freely and winning rave reviews down in the south. Paul McGrath here turned in a stirring semi-final, I thought, against Monaghan, when he kicked 4 wonderful points to make a major contribution. And here's the high-flying Teddy McCarthy, acknowledged as a player for the big occasion. Seems to relish a challenge, and I'm sure he hopes to make it 2 All-Ireland medals today, having already got 1 in hurling. And there he is, Larry Tompkins, one of the game's most talked about stars. He trains hard, he works at his game, and for the 2nd year in a row, well, he's Cork's top scorer. We've got Barry Coffey here. Barry grabbed his opportunity in the semi-final with a very good, consistent performance, and effectively he keeps John O'Driscoll out of the starting 15 this afternoon. Dave Barry here, and this day last year, when many wondered why he wasn't on the team, he was turning out for Cork City in the League of Ireland against Bray Wanderers, and Dave, of course, scored the only goal of the game in this year's semi-final against Monaghan. John Kearns back. The leg injury has cleared up sufficiently, and in spite of Michael Maguire's very good form in the semi-final, well, the selectors simply couldn't keep John out. He's got great experience, solid and dependable, and of course he's a current all-star as well. Conor Coonahan, he was the captain last year. Player who closes down the middle of that Cork defence. His tackling is very firm, distribution good, and he certainly provides leadership around about the middle of the park. So the teams then coming across, and very shortly they will be introduced to the president. And the teams then lining up, coming across in front of the Hogan stand. Both are on the head and the captain are Joe and Ish. John Dowling there beside him. Well, Púil Goctor on the head and Lishnesh the Foidna, accompanied by the GAA president, John Dowling. John, one of only 7 men to have refereed All-Ireland senior hurling and football finals in the same year, that was 1960. This practice of meeting the president was introduced, I think, around about centenary year, and it's one the players like, getting a chance to meet our president. Robbie O'Malley there being introduced by Mick Lyons, his team captain, and a very inspiring and rallying captain Mick has proved. Martin O'Connell there, the familiar blonde hair. Liam Hayes looks a little tense. Jerry McEntee's got great experience, of course. And so on down the line. President Hillary will now meet the officials. John Goff, the linesman. Tommy Sugro, the match official, wish the best. Being told, yes, I've got the whistle. And that's on the left-hand side, Mickey Kearns, of course, of Sligo. Now it's Tony Nation's turn to take over, introduce his colleagues from the south, the Munster champions. Rated outsiders by many people for this match. But the great unknown factor, of course, this afternoon, as we see Dennis Allen there still keeping the tracksuit top on just to keep warm, is, of course, the fact that they've lost last year. And they want to turn around that defeat last year. They're a determined team. Now, how great is the determination? Can they break down the great resolve and talent of the Meath 15? So the president then makes his way back in towards the Hogan stand, the Ord Coyle section. And of course this afternoon they're playing for the new trophy, Sam Og Maguire, named after a good Dunmanway man. And it's the Sam Maguire Cup. Who will be taking it home for the first time? Will it be Mick Lyons or Tony Nation? So the players now then getting ready for the final part of the pre-match ceremonial before the anthem. The great parade of the teams behind the Artane Boys band, sounding as good as ever under their director Joe Lynch. Champions Meath, led by their strong and forceful captain Mick Lyons. Cork on this near side, led by their unsung hero Tony Nation, the left half back. A smile there on the face of Niall Cahalane. Players never quite knowing what to do at this point, whether to look around, soak up the atmosphere, or look just straight ahead as Michael McCarthy was doing there. I was talking to a couple of the players before they went into their dressing rooms, and I asked one of them, do you enjoy this? And he said, you can't enjoy an All-Ireland final, not until it's all over. Mick Lyons, the team captain there, and only 3 other Meath men have led the green and gold to All-Ireland honours. Ryan Smith, Peter McDermott, Peter Darby, while Tony Nation hopes today to join a Cork quartet of All-Ireland winning leaders. Jim Power in 1890, Mick Meagan in 1911. Ty Crowley was the captain of Cork in 1945, and of course the team manager today, Billy Morgan, he was the great skipper of 1973. But what does the 1988 final hold in store? The bookmakers declare Meath the odds-on favourites to win, and there hasn't been a draw, remember, since 1972, the year that Offaly drew with Kerry in front of 72,000 people. So now just minutes away from the start as the parade winds down along in front of the Cusack stand. Just about 5 minutes away from the throw-in. Expectations are high of another Meath victory. That creates its own pressure for the players, but the pressure is great on Cork as well. They don't want to go down as the side beaten in 2 All-Ireland football finals. The last time that happened to a Cork team was 56 and 57. And it will be Meath who will play from left to right in the first half. Little or no breeze to worry about. Scarcely a pop of breeze around Croke Park this afternoon. But the Meath fans here occupying Hill 16. The goal that they will be defending, as it were. Meath will be defending in the first half. So Tommy Sugar then takes charge of his first All-Ireland final. He's 34 years of age, and a big honour for him from St. Patrick's in Kerry. Jerry McEntee has wished the best. Certainly he's doing his best, Tommy Sugar, just to diffuse the tension that's about. It's inevitable because this is at stake, the Sam Maguire Cup, there for the taking over the next hour and a half. There was an Ish Shassan on Slua, facing the tricolour away over the Cusack stand. The Artane Boys Band and Auron the Vian. A great roar then from the packed stands and terraces at the conclusion of the All-Ireland Football Championship, a championship which began on May the 8th. Can Meath confirm their position as the best team in the country? They've won the league title already this year. Or will Cork atone for last year? Tommy Sugrue checks. The players in midfield offer one another every encouragement. Hayes and McEntee for Meath, McCarthy and Fahy in red of Cork. Cork to play from right to left in the first half. The man that they had so much doubt about before this match, Larry Tompkins, marked, as you see there, by Liam Harnan. Tommy Sugrue is ready, just checking. The long-awaited final is underway. Teddy McCarthy setting Cork into an early attack down towards Dave Barry, trying to lay it off for Barry Coffey. A little chip inside towards Dennis Allen, held off there well by Pádraig Lyons. Good covering by Pádraig Lyons, the younger of the two Lyons brothers, operating on the full back line. Not such a good pass out of defence, intercepted there by Tony Nation. Teddy McCarthy way to his left-hand side, rather a giveaway of the ball. Pitch in absolutely superb condition, a tribute to the ground staff here, and one must mention Con O'Leary, the head groundsman here for the last 20 years, watching the match this afternoon in the Mater Hospital, and everyone in Croke Park sends him their best wishes. Coleman Corrigan coming across. Referee's whistle sounds, and he has a little quick word there with Matty McCabe, fouling Coleman Corrigan, who of course missed most of last year's final when he was taken off injured. Niall Cahalane going across to the right back position to take that free. Touchdown towards Teddy McCarthy, releasing it outside. Paul McGrath. High and hopeful, but wide. Cork's first attack. And Paul McGrath wide of the target. Shea Fahy tussling there, but it breaks down into the arms of Liam Hornan. Anxious to do well this afternoon. Liam Hayes through the middle towards Brian Stafford. Hot not deceiving Coleman Corrigan, well judged. Little chip forward towards Paul McGrath. Martin O'Connell's his marker. Here's Dennis Allen. The 36-year-old. Playing in his first All-Ireland final. Nice ball inside. McCarthy's moved inside. Teddy McCarthy shot. It's a goal! McCarthy. 2.5 minutes gone, conceived by the genius of Dennis Allen. One running by McCarthy, slack marking at the back. And it was Kevin Foley who was left with the task of trying to block this one. It went through the goalkeeper's legs. And Cork have gone into a one-goal lead. Well, that's the start that will settle down any nerves that exist. Nation puts Paul McGrath. That goal created out on that wing, and a brilliant ball through the centre by that great footballing player, Dennis Allen. One of the great geniuses of the game, and so many people wondered why he wasn't involved last season. Shea Fahy takes it chest high. Cork have settled the quicker, and that goal has helped. Cahalane rifling it forward towards Michael McCarthy, the Skibbereen man outside the 45-metre line. Cut out, however, by Porrick Lyons. Great covering again by Lyons. Up towards PJ Gillick. Much will depend on young PJ Gillick. Hayes. Meath doing well, weathering the storm. And that's a free into Meath for that push on Brian Stafford by Coleman Corrigan. Meath playing good, sensible football out of defence, trying to weather this little storm that they're going through. Rocked by that early goal, of course. Stafford, such a hero last year, waits. Jostling for the ball inside. Cahalane can't hold it, gets there the second time. Ahead of Colm O'Rourke. Shea Fahy opens it up into the middle. Robbie O'Malley misjudges. It comes to Dave Barry. Cork making the much better start. Paul McGrath. Not a good ball forward. Taken by Robbie O'Malley. Towards Jerry McEntee. Dennis Allen and McEntee. Two great old heads. Now the Cork sideline ball, despite the protest there from David Beggy. So Larry Tompkins to take this sideline ball short to Teddy McCarthy, the goal scorer after 2.5 minutes. Only score of the game indeed so far. That's well blocked down by Jerry McEntee. Robbie O'Malley fouled by Larry Tompkins, and despite the hamstring injury that was much talked about, Larry has decided to play without the aid of any strapping on the leg. Tompkins has scored 18 points in the championship so far for Cork. Robbie O'Malley here acknowledged as one of the great right cornerbacks in modern football. McEntee ran well, sensibly picking that one up ahead of Larry Tompkins. Kevin Foley has had a very good season in the championship. Speculatively across towards Bernard Flynn, and he was pushed out over the sideline. No question about the free. Over the head of Brian Stafford. Shea Fahy back there covering for Cork to link up with Paul McGrath. Nice little solo onto the left boot. It comes into space, but there's nobody there at all except Mick Lyons. Liam Hayes was calling. And around Larry Tompkins. Good play. Nice balance and control by Hayes. Simply pissed it out of his grasp at that time, which of course would be against the rules. Robbie O'Malley. And the elbow high by Barry Coffey produces a free to Meath. McEntee the taker quickly. Brian Stafford holds it. Lovely skill and elegance. High up into the clouds it goes. Callan's under it. Bernard Flynn too. And it goes off the defender. It's gone for a 45. And you can see great crowds of Meath supporters just underneath us here, and plenty of tension about. Brian Stafford then seeking his 24th point, taking it short. Beggy, nice run! And it's over the bar. For Meath's opening score, which has come after 8 minutes play. So 2 points separating the sides now. But the referee had whistled for something that happened down there. The score is cancelled out, and so it may well be the point now that Beggy got a little bit earlier. No advantage applied then, so here it comes. It is now. Well, David Beggy, I think, was just dragged that time as he was going through, so the referee cancelled out his kick, and Brian Stafford's is the one that counts, his 24th point of the championship. Fisting, McCabe searching, pursued by Tony Davis. McEntee is free. Player with the craft and talent to set up scores. Brian Stafford has gone wandering. Coleman Corrigan has followed. PJ Gillick. McCabe gets it back to Stafford, who started all of that on a block down by Teddy McCarthy. Receives it again from Shea Fahy. Goal to a point the position, of course. Cork the leaders at the moment. A belt into space. Dave Barry controls. On towards Barry Coffey. Cork holding it up, waiting for movement inside. Dave Barry chipping. But it's Porrick Lyons who gets there first, and despite the high challenge from Michael McCarthy round the face, the referee allows an advantage. Dennis Walsh can't hold. David Beggy trying to get clear of the shackles of Tony Nation, being allowed an advantage, or is he? No, the referee has whistled up. Nothing was coming of it, so the referee quite correctly blows for the free. They're playing away down at the other end. And of course it was Beggy who set up the goal after 25 minutes in last year's final for Colm O'Rourke. But Tommy Sugrue had blown up, and because of all the noise here and the cheering, his whistle simply wasn't heard. So this free is from about 40, well, the referee is saying, Brian, take it back a little bit. It's now just about 45 metres out, or just a little nearer. And the Cork fans getting the highest vantage point possible up on the scoreboard. Flynn releases it to Harnan. Well, he was hoping to silence a few critics who haven't been too pleased with his performances this season. But wide of the target. And so it remains Cork 1 goal, Meath 1 point. And we have 11 minutes gone. Great fetching by Jerry McEntee. Clean catching. The release quickly and smartly to Gillick. Trying to get away from Conor Coonahan. Getting it onto his shooting foot, as it were, but drops short into Kerins' hands. Fahy here. Tony Davis running well. Loose ball picked up by Robbie O'Malley. Rather a giveaway. Beggy chipping it on towards Colm O'Rourke. That's such a good final last year. Oh, he wasn't expecting that. That came in his blindside completely from Barry Coffey. He was looking around and the shoulder came in. Colm O'Rourke was not expecting it. Both players in need of attention. This was what happened. He picked it up ahead of Dennis Walsh. And now watch for the player coming in, Barry Coffey on his blind side. There's the shoulder, he simply wasn't expecting it. In need of attention then, Colm O'Rourke. One of the great footballers of the last decade or so. A player who at one stage was really told that there simply was no reason why he should continue, because he had a very bad knee injury, but he bravely battled through all of that, and the referee's had the book out and he's taken the name there of Barry Coffey. So Coffey is the first player to have his name taken. Dr. Con Murphy there, the medical officer, just checking Barry Coffey's condition as well. Was on the fringe of the panel last year, but didn't quite make it into the 21 for the final. Once again, Anne Burton there, the physio, and Sean Boylan, the manager, was in just a moment ago to check on a very groggy looking Colm O'Rourke. And let's hope he can get back into the action quickly. He would be a huge loss were he forced to leave this match. So it's going to be a free. Brian Stafford, as always, will be the taker. 2 points between the teams, a goal to a point. Stafford's kick deep towards Liam Hayes, who moved forward, so Hayes marked by Fahy. He started very well, Shea Fahy. And Teddy McCarthy, their goal scorer. Cahalane on the trusty left boot. He's operating on the right-hand side, though picked on the left. Takes back to Martin O'Connell. Is there some holding? The Cork fans thought there was on Dennis Allen. It's open and enterprising so far. Dennis Walsh there and Colm O'Rourke. Barry Coffey. And ball out over the sideline. Meath ball. Foley the taker towards Colm O'Rourke. Dennis Walsh. Once again having the task of marking Colm O'Rourke this season. Didn't have a good final last year, Dennis Walsh, but the referee and the linesman here, Nicky Kern, signals that it's going to be a Cork ball, and Colm O'Rourke is very vexed by that decision. Very baffled by that particular call. He's to David Beggy. And he produced the score for Meath, trying to get through. He's got there. Short tackle late. Back to Stafford. The little chip is over the bar, and it's Meath's second point. He's got both those scores, and that's the first to come from play. So we have a point separating the sides, and a quarter of an hour gone. Meath fans now are happier, I think, with the way things are turning around. says not, pushing on Fahy. Straight to Cahalane, turning, striking it back into the heart of the Meath defence. Robbie O'Malley jumps with two Corkmen. Dave Barry releases it back to Teddy McCarthy. Belting it forward towards Dennis Allen, making a good diagonal run across from right to left. Cork Lyons his marker. Drilling it over to another unmarked player. That's Paul McGrath. Into Michael McCarthy unmarked. Good forward play. And it produces a fine point. Michael McCarthy, one of the finds of the year for them. It's come through the under-21 ranks. Played well in the Munster final, and that was a really well-executed score. Dennis Allen was the one who set it up with Paul McGrath, and look at the slack marking, which was responsible really for the goal just before this. But it was a very good finish by McCarthy. Cork then leading by 2 points. Meath the free for that bit of holding on Liam Hayes. Taken quickly by Harn, and he belts it high into the Cork defence. Colmore catches, happily recovered from injury, and it's over the bar. This game is opening up. Meath this afternoon, of course, playing in their 11th final, seeking a 5th title. Cork playing in their 17th All-Ireland final, and only 4 wins to date, 3 of them this century. Jostling there, Teddy McCarthy. Tackled by McEntee, and Colm O'Rourke, and he releases it. Forced into giving it away to David Beggy. Goal opens up in front of him. Coleman Carrigan. And I think he was going to pass it across, but in fact, it's going to be a free in for holding right on the 13-metre line. David Beggy, of course, has a little bit of rugby training, and if we see this once again, I wonder, was he thinking about a pass into the centre rugby style? I think he was. It was a good little dummy. Coleman Corrigan invited into the foul. And a free in for Meath. So Brian Stafford stepping up onto the 13-metre line, and you'd put your life savings that he would stick this one over with no breeze to worry about this afternoon. Will this be the equaliser in the 18th minute? Stafford has scored 3 of Meath's 4 points. The sides are level at Croke Park in the 1988 All-Ireland football final. Well, Meath's recovery now complete after the shock of that goal they conceded to Teddy McCarthy after just 2.5 minutes play. Liam Harnan is dominating. We haven't seen much of Tompkins so far. McCabe. And Colm O'Rourke is through. Tackled by Tony Nation. And Meath have taken the lead for the first time in the match, with Colm O'Rourke's second point in this game. And Colm O'Rourke has now scored 6 points in this year's championship. What a great forward he is, and indeed happily recovered from that facial injury he took a little bit earlier on. Tony Davis drops it, and it's Liam Hayes, sharper. Very athletic figure. Nice little flick forward towards Matty McCabe. If he can release it back to Hayes, which he can, but the referee says it was an illegal hand pass. And that takes a little bit of the pressure off a beleaguered Cork defence. Well, these Cork fans are discussing the opening 20 minutes. Happy, I'm sure, with the opening 5, but since then the tide has turned. Arnon is having a marvellous game. McEntee forward towards Bernard Flynn. It comes off the legs of Cahalane, and then he follows up and commits the foul against Brian Stafford, pleads his case with Tommy Sugrue. Niall Cahalane this afternoon, by the way. He's marking Bernard Flynn, who has yet to score. Brian Stafford is the player down injured at the moment. Sean Boylan comes in to check on his great full forward. And meanwhile, as Cork substitute is warming up down there, and that is young Stephen O'Brien, just a couple of days over age for minor again this year. And Billy Morgan, his team manager, has a quick little word with him. They're clubmates indeed at Nemo Rangers. And Stephen O'Brien is getting ready to come in. Now, who is he going to replace? Paul McGrath came across there, but he's not going. I think he might be going into that defence. I don't think they're too happy with the way the defence has functioned so far, in particular their full back line. And I think as Brian Stafford is back on his feet again, it's Dennis Walsh who's going off. He didn't have a good start to the match. Didn't do all that terribly well in last year's final. He'll be the first to admit it, and it's Stephen O'Brien who comes in his place. Brian Stafford then, the kicker of 3 points so far, 2 of them from play. The nick in the face there, I think, on the right-hand side of his cheek. It's high, not on its way, however. Oh, and Stephen O'Brien is fouled straight to the face that time. And the referee signals it's going to be a free for Cork. Stephen O'Brien is one of the most promising young footballers in the Cork area over the last few seasons, and great things are expected of him in the next few years. That's Barry Coffey. Tackled and fouled by Liam Hayes, and Tommy Sugrue goes down quickly to say, come on, keep it down. Meath, the leaders, in case you joined us late, leading by a point. 23 minutes gone in the first half. Cork 1-1, Meath 5 points. Teddy McCarthy once again sneaking down into that danger area. Looking for another score. Off the post it comes down to Barry Coffey. Nice turn. Blocked brilliantly. Oh, a great save by Robbie O'Malley. Reminiscent of the great one last year by Mick Lyons. A great covering by the Meath defence. It comes out towards Colm O'Rourke. Marked now by Stephen O'Brien, the 18-year-old. Down towards Teddy McCarthy again to Dennis Allen. A little bit optimistic. Cork behind by a point then, and that ball comes out to McEntee. To midfield to PJ Gillick. That went through 2 Cork players to reach PJ Gillick. Stafford lets it off his chest. Only error he's made so far. Shaken a little bit, I think, after that injury, which needed attention a little while ago. This is a very finely balanced contest. Meath, the hottest of hot favourites, but Cork have come here with the attitude that they're really going to, as they say themselves, give it a lash this year. Larry Tompkins, first time he's got an opportunity to shine. To Teddy McCarthy, released quickly to Barry Coffey. 2 players converging on Teddy McCarthy as Coffey went forward, but he's put it wide. So just a point between the teams. 10 minutes to go now before the half-time whistle. Meanwhile, at the other end of the ground, the marking is tight. It's a competitive, hard, physical game, as you'll see from the scars of battle on the face of Brian Stafford. Nothing given lightly in midfield. Larry Tompkins now, I think, has moved towards midfield, something which he did in the Munster final with great success against Kerry, you'll remember. It's a good ball forward for Paul McGrath. He can get it in quickly. Overhit the pass to Dennis Allen. Oh, high from the foot of Dennis Allen to Mick Lyons. He connected, and the referee says, no question, that's a free out. The referee sees it as dangerous play. And so Dennis Allen's name goes in to join the name of Barry Coffey in the referee's book. This is what happened again. It was an overhead pass. Allen tried to latch onto it, but dangerous. Oh, it was the elbow in fact into the face of Mick Lyons. So Mick Lyons then the second or third indeed of the Meath players in need of attention. Colm O'Rourke's been in the wars, and we saw Brian Stafford down needing attention also. So the referee certainly will have the option of adding time on at the end of this half. Dennis Allen there, a player who is back in the Cork colours after 3 seasons in the wilderness. He's playing great stuff at club level. And the fans behind the goal there on Hill 16 cheering on for Meath. Happy to see Mick Lyons back on his feet again. Jerry McEntee, I note, has gone across to mark Larry Tompkins, and Tompkins, yes, is now at midfield. Tompkins and Fahy then the axis in midfield for Cork. Teddy McCarthy is playing on the 40. Colm O'Rourke been invited to bring that ball back about 10 metres. Well, this was a tactic that they pulled with great success against Kerry. Will it work against Meath? Tompkins at midfield and then Teddy McCarthy playing at centre forward. Cahalane trying to round 2 attackers. Tony Davis, that's well blocked down by Colm O'Rourke. Oh, a little bit of fisticuffs. Tension spilling over a little bit. It's a game in which great commitment has been given by both sides, but there's terrific intensity as well. Can't quite hold, drops down to Tony Davis, to Dennis Allen, and the couple of passes he's got down there, he's used them very well. He's won a free. He's created a goal and a point so far, Dennis Allen. Referee then having a quick word with Pádraig Lyons, the 26-year-old cornerback. Dennis Allen wants a word as well with Tommy Sugru. Larry Tompkins then, first chance to test out that hamstring with a free. That looks good, but it tails to the left and it goes wide. Well, he struck it well. That's certainly no indication from him that he is carrying an injury. Barry Coffey judged it to a tee. Held, and he wins a free in. Well, in last year's semi-final against Galway in the drawn match, Larry pointed a beauty from this position. Just about the same angle as well. His side trailing by a point. It continues to remain Meath 5 points, Cork 1-1, and that's the amount of time remaining, just a little under 6 minutes in the half. Teddy McCarthy breaks it down to Liam Harnan. Blocked down by Michael McCarthy. Tompkins. Teddy McCarthy again. In towards Michael McCarthy, his namesake. The Skibbereen man trying to make connection. McQuillan does well. Pádraig Lyons tidies across to the waiting Martin O'Connell. And the danger averted. Nice turn by Beggy. Robbed by Dennis Allen. To Teddy McCarthy again. Kevin Foley is marking. Beggy is adjudged to have touched the ball on the ground, and it's going to be a free in for Cork for Larry Tompkins and a chance of an equaliser. Sides level once before in this first half. And for the second time, the sides are level. On level terms, Cork 1-2, Meath 5 points. Larry Tompkins' first score has taken 31 minutes to come. As Mickey McQuillan prepares to take this kick out, I note that the Meath wing-backs have switched, and Martin O'Connell is now playing on Barry Coffey, and Paul McGrath being marked by Kevin Foley. Matty McCabe holds it the second time, ahead of Tony Davis, linking up with O'Connell. PJ Gillick touching it down for David Beggy. Good searching ball through the middle, caught by McCabe, wrestled however from him by Tony Davis, quite legally the referee says, and out it comes to the middle. That was a very, very vital and important catch. Tompkins is on his way, stopped however, but fouled in the process by PJ Gillick. Gillick was insistent that it wasn't a foul, but of course you're not allowed to chop the ball away out of a player's grasp like that. The rule book states you've got to flick it away with the open hand. Free quickly taken to Conor Coonahan. Breaks down to McCarthy, and so nearly a second Cork goal. Stopped on the line by Martin O'Connell and away from danger. Meath having some nervous moments in defence. There's some good intelligent running by the Cork forwards, the full forward line in particular, when the ball comes their way. It's created openings, but they concede frees at the other end. Stafford winning that free, which O'Rourke takes quickly to Bernard Flynn, who is yet to score in this match. Seemed to step out over the end line, and it's going to be a kick out for Cork. Bernard Flynn going through a minor scoring crisis at the moment. He's failed to find the target in his last 2 matches as well. That's against Dublin and against Mayo. Larry Tompkins didn't hold it. I don't think he was expecting it to get through Jerry McEnty's arms. Free then quickly taken in towards Colm O'Rourke. Coleman Corrigan covering. So two very evenly matched teams, level pegging at the moment. These Cork fans full of hope that the cup might return to the city of Cork for the first time in 15 years. But it's Stafford advancing on goal, held out by Kearns, and it's just as well that Nation was waiting at alert to kick it away. But really, it's a question of a clearance there under all kinds of stress and strain. Colm O'Rourke grabs. That's good fielding, good vision to pick out Stafford, but he's put it wide of the target. There was a little bit of defending there that I think resulted in Brian Stafford being put off his concentration as he hit that one. Nervous moments in midfield. Meath asserting themselves. Cahalane keeping Bernard Flynn scoreless so far. There was a push, and that's going to be a free out. Very congested midfield, and it's Colm O'Rourke who takes it from there to Bernard Flynn. Into time added on for injuries now. And Meath winning themselves a free. The foul by Niall Cahalane on Bernard Flynn. The motto seems to be thou shalt not pass. Well, we've had the trainer on at least 3 times for Meath on each occasion, it must be said, and I'm sure the referee Tommy Sugra will add on a minute or two. This is now 40 seconds into injury time, and Meath have retaken the lead with Brian Stafford's 4th point at free. And a game that's so delicately balanced, it has the makings of a really good second half. Neither side prepared to yield an inch in the opening 35 minutes. Coffey bottled up and held. Cork's 11-3 then, down towards Teddy McCarthy. Michael McCarthy knocked to the ground, and that produces a free on the 20-metre line. We've had a lot of this personal fouling going on over the last 5-6 minutes, and let's hope it doesn't start to spoil the game. Larry Tompkins has been told by the referee Tommy Sugra, I think, that this might well be the end of it. Yes, this is the last kick of the first half. Will it be the equalising one for the 3rd time in the half? It curls to the left, it's wide, and Meath then lead by 6 points to 1-2. The referee just waiting for the ball to come out. Well, in fact, he has blown the half-time whistle. There it is. And so, as we tell you, Meath go in leading by just the bare minimum. It's Meath 6 points, Cork 1-2, and it has the makings, I think, of a really good, competitive and intense second half. And that's something we're looking forward to.
So sleeps the pride of former days, so glory's thrill is o'er, and hearts that once beat high for praise now feel that pulse no more. No more to chiefs and ladies bright the harp of Tara swells, the chord alone that breaks at night its tale of ruin tells. This freedom now so seldom wakes, the only throb she gives is when some heart indignant breaks to show that still she lives. And ladies bright, the harp of Tara swells, the chord alone that breaks at night its tale of ruin tells. This freedom now so seldom wakes, the only throb she gives is when some heart indignant breaks to show that still she lives.
Yes, Mick Foster and Tony Allen, better known to you, of course, as Foster and Allen, providing the half-time entertainment here. A little song from Meath that just gone by then, as you saw the Artane Boys band forming up into the sea. And you can bet the banks of my own lovely Lee is not too far away. So Foster and Allen there getting plenty of help, I can tell you, from the Cork supporters down at the canal end here at Croke Park today in their version of the Banks. My studio panellists Dermot Flanagan and Barney Rock have been watching that first half and been intrigued by the football. Dermot, what have you thought of it so far?
Cork have been quite dangerous at times. They've put together some nice moves. There's been some excellent defensive work by Meath as well, particularly their true corner backs. And indeed, I think the Cork backline is playing quite well. So it makes for a very interesting second half.
Barney?
Well, it seems to be a battle of the forward lines at the minute, you know. If Cork are going to win it, they've got to keep winning midfield, keep getting enough ball into the full forward line and run at the Meath defence. And likewise, if Meath are going to do it, they've got to get plenty of ball into their full forward line for the likes of Stafford, O'Rourke and Flynn to pop over the ball.
Before the match, Dermot, we talked about the midfield battle. It's been a bit undecided, really.
Yes. I think Cork are a little bit unsettled. Teddy McCarthy has moved up to centre half forward now, and Larry Tompkins is back in midfield. Perhaps a sign that they're not too happy with their midfield. Meath are playing solidly without anyone shining at this point.
We had a question mark, of course, about Larry Tompkins, Barney, going into the match and about his injury. He doesn't seem to be suffering any effects of that, but unfortunately he's suffering other effects, as we saw 12 months ago here.
Indeed, yeah. But I think that the more frees he'll take now in the second half, if Cork can run at him and get a few frees in close to goal, I think it'll settle Larry's nerves on the free-taking point of view.
Both of you went for Meath just by a shade before the match. Barney, who do you think's going to win now?
I still think Meath will do it, mate.
And Dermot?
And myself likewise.
Okay, so both our panellists sticking with Meath then. A point in it, Meath leading by that point at half-time. The Cork team coming back out onto the field So I'm going to hand you back again then to our commentator, Ger Canning.
Dennis Allen just passing by there, and Conor Coonahan, and young Stephen O'Brien has been on since the 21st minute of the first half. By the way, this is the 12th time that the same counties have returned to play in the final 2 years in succession as we watch the Meath lads coming out. However, curiously enough for the Cork fans who trail at the moment, the team trailing at the moment, the side losing the first final has only reversed the decision the following year on 4 occasions, and indeed one of those was a walkover. I note that there are no changes on either team as they both come out for the second half. But in recent times, of course, you'll recall Kerry beat Dublin in 1975 and were defeated themselves by the Dubs in 1976. And in this decade, Kerry beat Offaly in the 1981 All-Ireland final, only to lose the 82 final to the same opposition in the most dramatic finale ever, I suppose there's been. There's John O'Driscoll, one of the panel players. And Larry Tompkins wished the best. Billy Morgan, last words of instruction. The great motivator, great coach, highly respected by all. And his immediate opponent this afternoon, of course, Sean Boylan, the affable coach from Dunboyne in County Meath. So the half-time position then, we'll remind you, shows Meath ahead by a point, 6 points to 1-2. Tommy Suber doing his best to keep the game moving along, despite the fact that there were a number of stoppages in the last 10 minutes of the first half. So second half's underway, and McEntee touches it forward, but only to the waiting Conor Coonahan. Dave Barry, by the way, has switched, I noticed, positions with Paul McGrath. Here's Paul McGrath. Up towards Michael McCarthy. Scored a very good point in the first half for Cork. Back to Shea Fahy as they look for the equaliser early in the half. Larry Tompkins drilling it in towards that Canal end goal, and the sides on level terms. It's the third time of the match that's been the case, and that equalising point comes after 28 seconds of the second half. And just to look at the shape at the moment of this Cork forward line, Paul McGrath top of the right, Dennis Allen now full forward, Michael McCarthy top of the left. Teddy McCarthy continues to play on the 40, and Dave Barry is right half forward. Now there was a push, which the referee quite clearly saw, and a free to Meath. Liam Harnan the taker. Down towards Colm O'Rourke, getting there ahead of young Stephen O'Brien. Towards PJ Gillick. Once again O'Rourke foraging. Such an experienced performer and a delightful player, kicking splendidly over the bar for his third point of this All-Ireland final. Meath are back in front again. Not an instant reply, but he's picked up an eye injury. And it may well be that, yes, I think he's missing one of his lenses, or one of them has gone slightly askew. One of a growing number of players, indeed, who play hurling and football wearing corrective lenses. Certainly the way he hit that ball, he was in A1 condition. Oh dear. So can they get the contact lens back in quickly? And Tommy Suber rather, wants him off the field quickly. So Meath down to 14 at the moment. Ahead by a point. Teddy McCarthy's kick blocked down by Liam Harnan. It breaks back to Martin O'Connell, now operating at right half back for Meath. Into space towards Bernard Flynn. Getting little change, nothing indeed really out of Niall Cahalane. Tony Davis has it taken from his grasp quickly by Matty McCabe. The sharpness of the left half forward very evident. Matty McCabe looking around there to see if Colm O'Rourke's coming back on. He's still off the field. Cahalane's kick towards Larry Tompkins. That's a great leap by McEntee and Tompkins. We've got to credit two great players. Superb fielding, but the referee saw it as a foul to McEntee. And let's hope now a little bit of the tension that was there in the first half will just simply evaporate and we'll have a really splendid second half of football. Fahy deep. Touchdown to Dave Barry. Oh, great save at point-blank range by Mickey McQuillan. That spectacular reaction. The referee saw him being held and it's a free out to Meath. Well, he may have made an error against Mayo in the semi-final, but he more than made amends when it really counted from Dave Barry's crashing shot, which was spectacularly saved by McQuillan. Now, Cork are arguing, of course, that he touched the ball outside the small square that time, but the referee gives it as a free out. So one of the moments they'll talk about, I know, again and again, when this game is over. Dennis Allen now. Nick Lyons his marker. Dennis now playing at full forward. Blocked down by a combination of Mick Lyons and Martin O'Connell. O'Connell's passes slack straight to Tony Nation. To Dave Barry. Back to Tompkins, looking for point number 3, and it sails over the bar. A man who was born in Dublin, brought up for a time in Wicklow, played so much of his football in Kildare, and now he's in the red of Cork. So they're level for the 4th time. The Cork flags fly high behind Mickey McQuillan's goal. And I think we're going to have a really exciting and hopefully thrilling second half. McEntee. He can be so influential, a player of great craft and know-how. Kick taken by Porrick Lyons. Oh, a great reaching catch, but not taken by Cahalane as he would have wished, and it comes to Brian Stafford, and it's over the bar. Brian Stafford picking up the pieces. That's his 5th point, and Meath go in front again. Well, such a seesawing game. Just when Cork thought that Cahalane had it covered, it dropped from his grasp, spilled down to Stafford, and you know the end result. Teddy McCarthy leaping high, but Jerry McEntee judiciously fists it, but only as far as Tony Davis. Right half back. The punt forward to Dennis Allen. Dave Barry here. The St Finbar's man back to Tompkins. From an awkward position. Barry Coffey tries to keep it in play. Marked over there by the marvellous Martin O'Connell. He's playing well. Belting it towards PJ Gillick, catches it unchallenged by Conor Coonahan. Releasing it outside to Stafford. Inside to McCabe, right out for enterprising football, but spoiled by McCabe's inability to hold, and then he tried to take it away from Tony Davis, but it's gone for a kick out for Cork. Lions then keeping Dennis Allen in the Lions' den. Good ball to Coffey. You have to look up and find a colleague. Finding Paul McGrath, lovely skill, beautiful turn. Can he finish with a good pass inside towards McCarthy? It went away from him. From Foley down to Martin O'Connell, but it breaks back to Larry Tompkins. A player outside him if he wants to release it. Tompkins going for the shot, and the score, and the sides level again. Now this is more like the Larry Tompkins we saw during the championship this year. You could see the determination in his face. The fans appreciating the effort by all and sundry. Hayes with Shea Fahy. Fahy, the other ex-Kildare player. And he's won the free, and the referee Tommy Sugru doing a very good job, right up there with the play at all times. Tompkins wants Dave Barry to come near to him. Away from his marker, which he successfully does. Turning round Mick Lyons, back to Dennis Allen. And that was a good chance, spurned by Dennis Allen. Most experienced player in the field, exchanging harsh words with Paul McGrath. The tension, I think you can gather for yourself, is quite immense. The biggest day in these young footballing lives. Both so badly wanting to win. Meath to hang on to their title. Cork to win it for the first time in 15 years. Dennis Allen, who in 1973, when Cork were winning the last title, was playing soccer with Cork Hibernians, with whom he won an FAI Cup medal. Martin O'Connell keeping such a tight rein on Barry Coffey in the second half. That's touched down by Coleman Corrigan to the alert and waiting Stephen O'Brien, trying to dodge around the old head Colm O'Rourke. He overcarried, however. Free to Meath from just around the 45-metre line near the sideline. Brian Stafford ready to take this free from the 45-metre line. Mickey Kearns wants it a foot or two nearer the sideline. Billy Morgan then, and Dr. Con Murphy, Sean Murphy, a selector, and Frank Murphy there as well. All the Murphys of Cork looking on. Jimmy Kerrigan there in the background. Player who played right half forward last year. Sides level, remember. Start with the kicker from Meath. In towards Colm O'Rourke. High they go, and kissed it down. Stephen O'Brien takes it. Tompkins is waiting, and the siege lifted. The counter-attack at the other end. Robbie O'Malley jumps. Oh, he jumped out of his skin to touch that one away from the incoming forward. Belted away by McEntee, and the referee saw a push, and it's going to be a free to Cork, which Tompkins wants to take quickly. Dave Barry. Here's Tompkins. Nice turn. He's playing well in the second half, Larry Tompkins. That's onto his kicking boot, and it's over at Sells, and Cork have retaken the lead. Cork go in front by a point with 11 minutes of the second half gone. Larry Tompkins' 5th point. Fans on both sides getting behind their team, trying to lift them and inspire them just a little bit more. Liam Hayes punted forward towards Brian Stafford. Onto the right boot, high. Bringing down just a little rain as it came down, I think, and into the arms of Conor Coonahan, who was held by Colm O'Rourke, and that's going to be a free. And Meath are bringing on a substitute. And you'll see racing in now near the referee, Colm Coyle, a player who scored 3 points in the semi-final win against Mayo. And going off is Matty McCabe. McCabe called ashore then by manager Sean Boylan. But it's time for a new, fresh pair of legs and some new ideas from Colm Coyle, who's impressed so much in the semi-final victory. Coonahan left-footed to Shea Fahy. Intended for Paul McGrath. McGrath there with Porrick Lyons. Good balance and control. Dave Barry wants it. He's marked, however, now. Near the sideline. Oh, that was a cheeky little ball, but it's gone wide. Well, he almost walked it into a perfect position, but I think he might well have done the more correct thing, which was to play the ball in faster. Dennis Allen continuing to have a word or two with some of the younger players like McCarthy and McGrath. Colm Coyle, by the way, is now operating at centre forward, and he is being marked by Conor Coonahan. PJ Gillick is playing left half forward. Inconclusive, and so the referee is giving it as a free to Cork. The Meath people would have thought that that should maybe have been a hot ball. Larry Tompkins will be the taker just inside the 65-metre line. Cork leading by a point. Dave Barry's unmarked, went away from his marker quickly. Good at getting away from the player who should be marking him. Cross towards Barry Coffey, touchdown to Michael McCarthy, rounding O'Connell. Cork leading by that 1 point. Looking for more, and a free in from the 13-metre line. It's a good darting run by Michael McCarthy. O'Connell incensed. So the best spell in the game that Cork has enjoyed could see them into a 2-point lead. Referee wanted Michael McCarthy back from the end line outside the 20-metre line. Should be point number 6 for Tompkins and a 2-point lead for Cork. It is 40 minutes into the second half. Larry Tompkins, who wanted to play the game of his life in the All-Ireland final. He was disappointed last year. Will this be his year? Not if Mickey McCullen and his Meath colleagues can have their way. Meath behind by 2, but remember, so often in big matches in recent times, Meath have gone into arrears. Remember, league finals and that, but they were able to come back. Great experience and great craft and plenty of know-how. Stephen O'Brien almost taking some oxens out of the face that time, but it's on it goes towards Shea Fahy. Tackled by Jerry McEntee, fouled by McEntee. Shea Fahy played really well in the semi-final win over Monaghan and doing his bit at midfield today. I've no doubt at all that the Meath bench will be worried by the way this game has developed over the opening quarter of an hour of the second half. Cork taking a grip. Tompkins beginning to motor, and that's made all the difference. Inside is Dennis Allen and Dave Barry. Dave Barry was calling for the ball, but Tompkins did not release the ball. Tompkins, of course, who came into this match troubled by a hamstring injury, and apparently it was a very real injury. I know that some of the Cork people behind the scenes were happy enough that he had a bit of a break over the last week because he trains really hard. Meath are making a change. Kevin Foley has gone off and Terry Ferguson, who played in last year's final, is on. Tompkins again making the catch and making the difference. An injury to the face will need attention. Cork waiting for the trainer to be called on. Tompkins looks okay, and they're told they can go back again. There's Terry Ferguson, son of the great Snitchy Ferguson, who was here during half-time in the minor match, being presented as part of the 1963 Dublin All-Ireland winning team. Cork Lyons down towards Harnan. He's got a little bit out of the game in the second half, but a great, terrific first half indeed. Dave Barry. Tompkins again. He's getting loose now, and that's making quite a difference. Teddy McCarthy, high to the face by Hayes, and that's going to be a free in. A degree of frustration now creeping into the Meath team. They're committing rather silly indiscretions, giving away fouls and frees. And with somebody like Tompkins around, that surely will be punished. This is what happened again. Teddy McCarthy on a burst. The referee adjudged it to be a foul at that particular point. Tompkins then ready to kick outside the 20-metre line to the right of the goal. Little or no breeze to contend with. Cork 1-7, Meath 8 points. He's put it wide. That could be a critical kick a little later on. Time will tell. 18 minutes into the second half, that's the time remaining, and just 2 points, as you see, separating the sides. Good catch by by Barry Coffey. Cork lording it now at midfield and half forward. Shea Fahy on the drive. Outside him he's got Dave Barry. Then it's Teddy McCarthy in the line, but it's overpassed and it's Porrick Lyons who nips in. Now Meath will have to try and get their act together and get some momentum going from midfield into the forwards. That's gone out over the sideline. Cork ball. John Goff here, who's referee of the 1983 final. Dublin against Galway. Linesman this afternoon. Now Cahalan, one of the strong contingent of West Cork players playing for Cork. Aimed towards Teddy McCarthy. Tompkins to take the sideline ball. Chipped short to Shea Fahy. Back to Tompkins. Crowd expectant and wondering what's going to happen here as it's released inside to Paul McGrath and wide. And that's Cork's 8th wide of the match so far. Dennis Allen there. Now playing it full forward, and he wants a little bit more going, and he wants Cork, I'm sure, to avail of the chances that are coming their way. This is a critical period in the match. If Meath can weather this storm and strike over a score or two of their own, they could well be back in the driving seat. Stafford kicking into space. Quite on his game this afternoon, Brian Stafford. Coyle neatly inside to PJ Gillick. It was blocked by Coleman Corrigan. Or rather by Tony Davis, I should say. This is Coleman Corrigan. And that's a good bit of forward play by Barry Coffey, drifting away from Martin O'Connell. Dennis Allen holding it up, waiting for Tompkins to come from a deep position. Some bunching right in front of him now. Tompkins going it on his own. Well, it's something he's been criticised for in the past, an inability maybe to link up with the forwards as everyone in the Cork team would wish. Certainly there were players inside that time that he could have played it into. So 2 points the margin. Cork leading at the moment, and there are 14 minutes remaining in the All-Ireland final. Coonahan takes. Holds on well. Tries to carve out an opening and unlock this defence. Coonahan again taking it back to Dennis Allen. On the left boot and wide of the target. And that's 3 or 4 really good chances now in the space of 5 minutes in Cork's best period of the match so far. Will all those misses be crucial in the end? A lot of bunching at midfield. Cork dominant at the minute. The foul on Barry Coffey produces a free in. A free from about 50 metres out from the Meath goal. Tompkins the free taker. He's got 6 of Cork's 10 points so far. He's now got 7 of 11. And Cork lead by a goal, a solitary goal. 1-8 for Cork, in fact. It's 1-8 for Cork, Meath 8 points. And I note now that Meath have switched their marking on Larry Tompkins, and PJ Gillick, I think, is the one who's been assigned that particular duty. Coonahan. Oh, beautifully taken by Robbie O'Malley in flight, an important interception. Getting it onto the right boot to Hayes. Well, now with a goal between the teams, remember it's 1-8 for Cork, 8 points for Meath. Meath having to come back, if they can. A foul down there, which the referee saw. It may well be. It was a foul, in fact, after that ball was kicked in, so a free from where the ball lands, which is about 22 metres out. Stafford will be the free taker. This should be a Meath score, but it's a crucial one, and there is great pressure on him. Time is running out for the champions. Still holding their balance, but not playing as well as they should be, or they're being allowed to be indeed. It's a 2-point game, and Brian Stafford has kicked 6 points. Always calm in a crisis and capable of kicking over those vital points. So the clench fist from Brian Stafford saying it all. Come on, we can still do it. But what a finale we've got in store. What a second half this match has produced in terms of intensity. Scores created, scores missed as well. That's fisted down by Gillick in midfield to Jerry McEntee. Tackled by Cahalane, pushed out over the sideline, and a free to Meath. Sean Boylan there looking very concerned with Tony Brennan and Pat Reynolds. Three men indeed have done so much to restore pride in the green and gold of Royal Meath, and provided a team which indeed can entertain, excite and provide good football. They're looking for a score at this point. It's away by Cahalane's fist. Tony Davis over there with Bernard Flynn. Colm Coyle chasing and pursuing, but it's Stephen O'Brien who takes it out of them ruck of players. Dave Barry back there, supposedly at full forward. Back there about 20 metres out or so from his own end line. Shea Fahy likewise. A lot of passion being showed by both teams, great commitment. They both so badly want to get their hands on the new Sam Maguire. Teddy McCarthy is loose. Dangerous moment for Meath, great shoulder. And the referee saw that Teddy overcarried, and it's going to be a free out. They play away, but it's going to be a free out. Tommy Suver saw a nudge by Teddy McCarthy as well. He saw it as the forward more or less charging into the back. And that will certainly relieve a little bit of pressure on McQuillan's goal. So who's going to win this final? Colm Coyle, hoping it'll be Meath. Coleman Corrigan, away towards that left-hand side, towards Michael McCarthy. Robbie O'Malley, his marker. Back to Coffey, referee says play away. Coffey looks up, sees his options, plays it into space, a two-man attack at the moment. Cork Lions on Paul McGrath. McGrath grounded in a free in, no question. A free in for Cork, and an opportunity to restore a 3-point advantage. Joe Castles is coming in, and Bernard Flynn has gone off. Bernard Flynn, who failed to score in this match or in either of his last 2 games. Tompkins the taker, and it curls away. Oh dear. It's a let-off for Meath. It keeps their hopes alive. 1-8 for Cork, 9 points for Meath. Terrific drama and excitement in the 99th All-Ireland football final. 101 years ago they played the first, but there were a number of years in which finals were not played. Martin O'Connell then will ready to take this free. It's Harnan who takes it. Cahalane grabs from the air, a vital catch. He's played splendidly at cornerback for Cork, towards Dennis Allen. Did it go out over the line? Mickey Kearns, the Sligo official, said yes. It's a line ball for Meath. O'Connell's kick towards Joe Castles. He should be the team captain, but couldn't find a regular place in the side. Beggy kicks. It was a real hit and hope one, and his faith wasn't justified. Meath's 5th wide of the second half. Seven minutes remaining. 2 points the margin. Cork the leaders. A chase here between Cahalane and Coyle. Coyle of Meath takes. Belts into space towards Colm O'Rourke. So much depends upon his leadership up there. and it runs harmlessly out over the end line and wide. Colm O'Rourke was certainly playing brilliantly in the opening 20 minutes, but he's been subdued somewhat since then. Cork have taken a bit of a grip at midfield. Tompkins really came into it in the second half, but the game is still there for the taking by either team, champion or challenger. Fahy releases outside to Barry Coffey, the Bishopstown man. Forward into space towards Paul McGrath. Quickly forward for Dennis Allen. Pull down, or is he? No, the referee says play on, I'm giving you an advantage. Dave Barry tries to make the most of it, but it's wide. Cork's 12th wide in the second half. Sean Boylan there is on his feet, as you see. Liam Hayes takes that splendidly from the air. Referee waited to see would anything come of it, and as it didn't, it's going to be a free to Meath. Stafford trying to get onto it. McEntee toe pokes it forward to Colm O'Rourke on that cultured left foot, and it's over the bar. And it's just a one-point game. Colm O'Rourke the scorer. And what odds now, I wonder, a draw in the All-Ireland football final, something we haven't had since 1972. Two very evenly matched teams. Cork having the better of the second half in terms of the number of chances they've had, but they've spurned a lot of chances, 12 wides in all. Kearns' kick is low to midfield, misses by Castles, away by Gillick. Players playing out of their skins now to try and get possession. That was a push by Stephen O'Brien on Colm O'Rourke, and he realises the importance of this kick, and he says as it's from this position it suits a left-footed kicker, and that's the angle he faces. 1-8 for Cork. Meath 10 points. It's a bit ambitious towards Colm Coyle, and Coyle was pushing now Cahalane in the back, and so it's going to be a free out for Cork. To go. John Kearns in no particular hurry to take this free. Punched down by Martin O'Connell. Here's Hayes galloping through midfield with great style and panache. Sandwiched, fouled, and a free in, and this should be the equaliser. A great one by Hayes, inviting the foul, going through two defenders. They collided upon him, protest their innocence, and Stafford is the one with responsibility once again thrust on his shoulders. His side trailing by a point. The faces in the Meath fans tell the story. Stafford has kicked 6 points, looking for his 7th, and the sides are level. Leading scorers in the match, Brian Stafford with 7, Larry Tompkins with 7. That's the time remaining. Will we have a winner, I wonder, this afternoon? Kearns kicks. Harlan punches down. Teddy McCarthy. If either side now can produce a score, one wonders whether that will be the winning one. What a finale. Well, we promised you something special, I think, just before the half-time break, and I think you'll have to agree it has been that. Tense and exciting all the way. And Tompkins is told by Tommy Subaru of Kerry, bring it back just a little bit. This is about 60 metres out, 2 minutes remaining. It's all tied up. 1-8 for Cork, 11 points for Meath in a memorable All-Ireland football final. The marking's been tight. The football hasn't always been flowing, but it has been engrossing and gripping, and that is tailing to the right. It's kept in play. No, Coffey can't hold on. Well, he really struck it well, but didn't quite have the range. McQuillan's in a hurry now with 1:30 to go. Most fans here, I'm sure, have enjoyed this second half. Just 1 point will do it, I'm sure. Dave Barry is fouled by Colm Coyle, and that's a free in from inside the 45-metre line. Now, we head towards the 1 minute point as Colm Coyle shrugs it off. It's going to be Tompkins who will take it. Well, since he came into the Cork colours last season, I think I've used the phrase that this is the most vital kick he's ever taken. He's just blessed himself. Will the gods smile favourably upon his pleas? The Cork fans are behind the Canal goal, waiting for this kick. Will it be a winner? It's on its way. Cork are in front. Tompkins has done it. 12 points to 11. Tompkins, the magnificent, with 8 points. Now is the Meath comeback with 25 seconds to go. What a gripping final it's been. Well, what a kick. He may have missed some, but they'll forgive him all of those. O'Connell now in a desperate hurry. Cork, whose last win was in 1973 when Billy Morgan captained. This is O'Connell. Can they get on level terms? Cork must not foul. Meath must get a point. It's a free in. Tommy Subaru is engulfed by a whole group of red shirts. The Meath fans smile down upon this up on Hill 16. I think this is headed for a replay. Stafford will kick. I've said it before, but you'd nearly put the life savings on the man to kick it over from here. But this is immense pressure. Stafford experienced it before. Tompkins experienced it a few minutes ago for Cork. (1-9) for Cork, 11 points for Meath. 45 seconds into injury time, and the sides are level. Stafford has kicked 8 points. Tompkins kicked 8 points. The battle of the big two. And I think we're going to have our first replay since 1972 when Offaly were here against Kerry. And one of the Meath players, Liam Hayes, might well have to miss that because, of course, he's due to go out to Seoul tomorrow morning to cover the Olympic Games. I'm headed there as well, but now I wonder. It's there. The referee leaves the game with the Cork players protesting about that last decision. It ends in a draw. The first time since 1972 that the match ended level. The full-time score was Cork, 1 goal and 9 points. Meath, 12 points. I'm sure the Taoiseach enjoyed that. The last time there was a draw here, it was Offaly 113, Kerry 113. Disappointment for Tompkins. Cork had a lot of chances. They missed 13 wides in all during the match. Meath's total of wides came to 6. But it was the marvellous Brian Stafford who kicked over that pressure point to make the full-time score. Cork 1-9, Meath 12 points. What a finale. Well, as the players head away for the sanctuary of their dressing rooms, the Cork players, I think, still very annoyed about that last decision. It'll be something worth seeing again, but certainly when that ball came in deep, they had to be aware, I'm sure, that a foul committed there would be absolutely crucial and critical, and indeed it transpired. The players leave. They gave us a marvellous second half. The first half I thought was tense. Some good scores in it. But really, the crowd now leaving Croke Park this afternoon, well, I think they really have been entertained in the second half. Terrific football. Some gripping moments, gripping scores. And I think it might well be worth taking a look at that last line ball again from O'Connell. Now watch where it landed, and you can make out for yourselves whether you think that a foul was committed when this ball came down in around the 13-metre line. Up in the air went Teddy McCarthy, down towards McEntee. Two Meath players collided, I thought, there. In nipped David Beggy. Dave Barry, I think the one adjudged to have fouled him. But perhaps when you look at it again, there are questions to be asked and answered. Another player, and need another person who was in a very good position to judge that one because they were behind that goal, is Michael Lester in his panel. Let's go and join them now.
Yes, indeed, Joe. Well, we have been looking at that replay with interest here as well. Myself, Dermot Flanagan and Barney Rock. And if we could talk about just this incident before we actually talk about the match, Dermot, I have to be honest, I did not see a foul.
Yes, well, it appears that Dave Beggy moved in on the breaking ball, and if anything, it appears to me as if he lost possession of the ball and dived on the ball on the ground. Perhaps the referee saw something around the ball that caused him to give a free, but it doesn't appear to me that there was a free committed on Dave Beggy.
Well, Barney, Tommy Super, the referee, he's right in there in the middle of it. He's the closest to the action of any of us, and he had no doubt. He was very quick to come in and make the decision. But the Cork players all protested immediately about that.
Well, I think, Michael, when you look at it there, I think they were quite right, because the ball had, Dave Beggy never had control of the ball. The ball went away from him. And I think there was a Cork player standing in front of the referee. And I think it was a 50-50 chance that he was going to give a free at that stage. You know?
Well, the flags are waving from the Meath supporters because their bacon was saved in the dying moments. But looking at it overall, it was a marvellous game of football. And if there's one thing that has come out of that controversial free kick, if you like, it means that we're going to have another look at both of these teams again, Dermot.
Yes, a marvellous game, very competitive, very little between the teams. I was very impressed with the way Cork came back in the second half. Larry Tompkins scored some excellent frees and scores from open play. But I think all the Cork forwards really raised their game in the second half. Meath showed themselves to be true champions by hanging in there, and at the death they survived. So a marvellous game. I'm looking forward to the replay.
Now, I should say at this stage that we'll have news on that replay for you, official news for you on that replay very, very shortly indeed. But now let me go to Barney Rock. We were talking about Larry Tompkins there, Barney. I don't know what they put into his tea at half-time, but by golly, it worked.
He certainly came out well in the second half. Every time he got the ball, Meath stood off him, and he went after the Meath defence. And I think that's the only way you can play Meath, is run at them and either take your opportunity about putting the ball over the bar or let them pull you down. Certainly he had a fabulous second half. You know, he was guilty of one or two misses, but I'd say with the last 50, that's cleared out that one.
Yeah, even though he did have a couple of bad moments, he seemed in the second half to have taken the responsibility of the game upon himself, which he did not do in the first half.
Indeed he did, Michael. Sometimes he might have over-elaborated and maybe got the ball in quicker to some players inside. But in the second half of play, he had a great game. You know.
Dermot, we saw most of the changes on the Meath team in the second half in their forward line. They were obviously not happy with the way they were playing. For instance, Jerry McEntee, midfielder, ends up playing left corner forward.
Yes, I think Meath lost the momentum at midfield. Cork came into the game very strongly in that area, and as a result, there's no service really going to Meath's full forward line, which is their danger line. And I think they tried to address that by bringing in players. At that stage, the game was moving away from them. They survived. I think both sides in the second half, it was the forward lines that came to the fore in the second half. And I was delighted to see that. The defences, I think, were holding their own in the first half.
Now, we might have had a doubt about that free kick that gave Meath the draw in the end, but for me, the most courageous move, if you like, towards the end of that game when it was going against Meath was Liam Hayes' run up the middle that produced a vital free kick, and it was a really fine run.
Yes, a marvellous run, and Barney mentioned that the Cork forwards perhaps should have gone straight through a little bit more, and I thought Liam Hayes' run was a tremendous driving run. He went after Cork defence, and they fouled him. Marvellous run, and I think it was a good example of the type of determination needed to survive at that stage.
Barney, I suppose it's the nature of the Cork forward line that they don't go directly at the heart of the defence, because guys like Dennis Allen, Dave Barry, Paul McGrath, they like to play wide a little bit and sort of move the ball around.
Indeed they do, especially in the second half. They played an awful lot of wide balls and tried to come in from the end lines. I think all credit to the forward line. I thought they played excellent. You know, each and every one of them played very well. And I think the one aspect from the Cork game was that they were tremendous catchers of the ball. I think they surpassed Meath in the back line of catching the ball in the air. And they came close to, I think they missed about 3 clear shots at goal, you know. And had any of them gone in, you know, it might have been end for Meath.
The man that impressed me most, Dermot, in that Cork forward line was Paul McGrath. He played a superb game of football.
Yes, he's an excellent player. A young player, came in from UCC, I believe he won the Sigerson this year. And he's a very mobile player and very courageous. He mightn't be the biggest man in the field, but very courageous, uses his skill very, very well, moving, running on and off the ball. I think that's a feature of this Cork team, their tremendous mobility. And I think if they can get the finishing touches, they can play even better in the replay.
Let's look at this game now from a Meath point of view. They snatched the game from the death in the end. Now, can they win the replay?
I think that they'll be a little bit concerned with the way they lost momentum at the beginning of the second half. Their midfield seemed to go out of the game. They moved around their half-forward line a lot, and I think that must be an area they'll be worried about, getting the service into their full forward line.
Well, Dermot, I'm going to interrupt you there for a moment because we do have official news now on the replay situation. So let's go over to Jim Carney.
Yes, Michael, thank you very much. Well, it's not a case of guessing or anything like that. Provisions have been made for the replay. And Danny Lynch, President Information Officer of the GEA, what are those provisions?
The replay will be today fortnight, Sunday the 2nd of October here in Croke Park. It was perhaps predictable in hindsight. 2 very good teams who contested a very close battle, but we start all over again as and from now in preparation.
Well, we won't have a minor final or anything like that, Danny, but I'm sure lots of hard work to be done in the next 2 weeks.
There is, yes. The organisation of an All-Ireland is, I suppose, similar to the organisation of something like a presidential visit. An awful lot of work goes into it, an awful lot of effort by an awful lot of people.
And the ticket situation, presumably tickets will be printed straight away and sent out to the county boards?
They will, yes. I mean, it's an extra headache, but it's something that's not normal. But that'll be organised immediately.
And what should county secretaries do? Wait to be contacted by Croke Park or contact Croke Park?
Well, I think that at this stage there's a routine worked out, and the same routine will apply.
Things will be set in train and everything will happen as normal, and the replay on Sunday.
We start tomorrow morning on that.
Well done, Danny. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Jim.
And back to Michael.
Yes, normally the officials at Croke Park will be looking forward to a day of rest tomorrow after the completion of the All-Ireland Championships, but I'm afraid they're going to have to go at it for another 2 weeks. And with Ger Canning, he's perhaps got one foot on that plane to Seoul, but I wouldn't just go yet, Ger. Now, I was talking to Dermot and Barney here about the replay. And Dermot, I was just beginning to talk to you about Meath. They would be a little bit concerned. I think they're still not playing their best football. And Bernard Flynn, I should say, a disappointment, was taken off again today, having failed to score.
Yes. Clearly, I think Bernard Flynn has an injury problem and a lingering one, and he hasn't come back to the form that he showed in the league final and replay. So I think there is a problem with his leg that hasn't righted itself yet.
Well, now we're going to go back, gentlemen, to Jim Carney again, who I think has some of the players and mentors to talk to this time down in the dressing room area.
Yes, thanks again, Michael. Well, it's never easy for players to come out after a draw when they want to get their breath back. So, Dennis Allen, let me first of all thank you for coming to talk to us. Congratulations on a splendid personal performance yourself. But the draw, how do you feel about it?
Well, it is an anticlimax, all right. You know, you never think of a draw. You prepare yourself for a winner. You prepare yourself to lose, you know, if you do lose, you know. So it's a bit up in the air at the moment, you know. But I think in 48 hours we'll have recovered and to just get out there again and do the same thing again, you know.
It may be a bit soon to ask you, Dennis, or anything, but what are the thoughts going around in your head about the match?
Well, the thoughts during the second half was that we were going to kick ourselves out of it. We seemed to be just shaving the post by 6 inches a foot, and they just weren't going to go over, you know. And in matches like that, you end up sometimes losing them, you know. Every time they seem to go down the field, they got a point. We come up, we'd miss 3, that sort of thing. And generally speaking, you usually lose those games, you know. So, like, in 48 hours, as I say, we'll be thankful that we're still there, you know.
Indeed. Well, Dennis, it's not a case that could the replay be Sunday week. It is Sunday week. You've just got 2 weeks now, but presumably you won't do a lot of hard work in those 2 weeks.
I hope you go out and tell Billy Morgan that. I don't think I would be able for another 2 weeks of his type of training. So, no, I don't think so. I think we'll be just limbering up this week, and we'll just do one training session next week then, you know.
Fair enough. Well, Dennis, thanks very much indeed. I'll let you go and talk in. And I'd like, if I could, to speak with Dave Barry. Dave, thanks very much for coming along to talk to us, and congratulations on your own personal performance. Played your heart out. A draw in the end. Do you think you could have snuck it, as they say?
Oh, yeah. Definitely, I think. Well, I won't say we left it behind us, but I think in the second half we played a better football. With Shea Fahey going to midfield and Larry Tompkins, I think the two of them played excellent in the second half. I went to the half hour and I picked up a lot of breaks, so that's what Billy Morgan was hoping to do, and especially with our performance in the second half.
You seem to enjoy coming out yourself and getting more freedom, Dave. You rose your game splendidly, really, in the second half.
Well, in the full forward line, you're dependent on the ball coming in, you know. If the ball is not coming in, you can't do much, you know.
Indeed. Well, again, from a personal point of view, Dave, you didn't play last year. It must have been quite a thrill for you to line out there today.
It's great. It's great. It's been my dream to line out in the All-Ireland final, and I'm bitterly disappointed at you.
Yes, Larry Tompkins, something like 8 points or so, a great personal performance by him.
Brilliant. I think Larry will go away now. And well, in the first half he missed a couple of frees, and it's a sign of a great player when he can come out in the second half and play as he did.
Well, I don't know if you were in the dressing room or not, Dave. What was the atmosphere like with the lads coming off the pitch?
Well, disappointment, the way it finished, you know, with a 14-yard free, especially. Well, I think I'll just have to go home and see was it a free, you know.
Yes.
But we'll have another go at it.
We all look forward to the replay. Well, Dave, we're very grateful to you coming on to talk to us. Thanks very much and well done. And back to you again, Michael.
Thanks, Jim. Well, Dave Barry and Dennis Allen may have missed a couple of championships with Cork. Now they're going to play in 2 All-Ireland finals in the 1 year. A final comment then from our panellists. Dermot Flanagan, yourself and Barney went for Meath for this game today. You're sticking with them for the replay.
Well, I'm having second thoughts now. I think Cork have raised their game, and I'm impressed with the way they went at Meath in the second half, and I think they will have got great belief in themselves from their performance today. Meath will have a lot of thinking to do themselves on their performance, but I still think it will be a marvellous replay, and a very close one at that.
And Barney, you've got to go back down to Ashbourne tonight, so be careful of what you say.
Well, I think, Michael, it should... today was a great final. I think the next day will be even better. Meath have an awful lot of work to do, you know. And if Cork can progress from this, I think that they might just do it the next day.
Okay, Barney Rock, thank you very much. Dermot Flanagan, thank you very much for joining us on our panel today. So then, that's where we leave it from Croke Park for this afternoon. Well, Cork perhaps will feel that that All-Ireland final was snatched away from them. However, both they and Meath have another chance to go at it again in a fortnight's time, and we're certainly looking forward to that on the evidence of the football that we saw here today. Now, the fact that there was no result today from Croke Park does not mean we do not have a Sunday game, of course. Sunday game coming to you tonight on RTE2 at 10:45. I hope that you'll join me for that, and we will have a man of the match tonight. So please do join us for the Sunday game. But from all of us here today on...
The Meath fans smile down upon this up on Hill 16. I think this is headed for a replay. 45 seconds into injury time, and the sides are level.
With the ball dropped in around the house, we call it, don't know where. And just went loose. They were going for it, Meath missing the whistle win. Yes. I couldn't see no way to the free. I thought he would pay for the draw.
Yes. No doubt in your mind?
No doubt whatsoever.
Yes.
I believe it was a free.
Yes.
Yeah.
How well do you remember it?
Well, I was on Hill 16, and what I seen, he came right through and he was fouled. Yes. Yeah.
No doubt in your mind?
No doubt at all, no.
Well, let's take a neutral view on this big talking point. Tony Cavanagh from Portlaoise, did you have a good view of it?
I have a great view of it.
Where were you, Tony?
I was at the Railway Inn.
Yes, and what did you make of it?
I made it out it wasn't free.
Yes,
definitely it wasn't free.
And you could see it clearly?
I could see it clearly.
Yeah, what do you think happened?
I think the referee was playing for a draw match the whole way through.
Well, James McCartan of Down, one of the greatest of all footballers to play in Croke Park. James, here as an interested spectator and as a neutral, what did you make of those last couple of frees?
Well, I thought none of them were frees. I thought that David Barry held the ball, and I thought there was no foul for the last. I thought the referee played for a draw.
And that last ball that dropped in, Martin O'Connell's free, David Beggy went for it. That seems to be the consensus that that's what the free was for. Did you have a good view of it, James?
Yeah, there was no free as far as I was concerned. There was tougher incidents during the game and there was no free.
Hello and welcome. The reactions of some of the supporters coming from Croke Park today after one of the most dramatic and controversial finishes ever to an All-Ireland final. It may have been a quiet year in the Football Championship, but it surely sparked into life today. Well, we'll be looking back, of course, at the big match, but more particularly at that last-minute free which saved Meath's bacon and sent the teams to an All-Ireland final replay. Well, here in studio to look back at it with me, I'm joined by Enda Culleran tonight as usual, and I'm also joined in studio by Jack O'Shea, our special guest here on this All-Ireland final night. Well, so, did he fall or was he pushed? Well, that's the question that everybody wants the answer to tonight, and we'll do our best to supply that answer here on the Sunday game. Our view of the incident a little bit later on, but first though, the opinions of some of the people who were closest to that incident today, some of the players who were down there on the field, and the opposing team managers.
Well, Tony Nation, Cork captain, you were right in the thick of the action there in that last minute. You were leading a point. What about that last free that took Sam Og away from you?
I think a ball came in from a line out, and I think Teddy McCarthy jumped for it, Coleman Carter jumped for it, and I think Stafford and Conor Roke jumped for it. No one actually caught it, it fell to the ground, and then all of a sudden the referee's whistle went.
Yeah, what was your reaction?
Disgust, really, I suppose. I didn't see any free. I don't think any back would have committed a foul at that stage of the game.
How very close to the action were you at that stage, Tony?
I was actually standing for the break off Teddy McCarthy.
Those things will happen. I suppose there was a melee of players there, and there's bound to be an element of pushing and shoving and tearing for the ball, and sure, they could have gone anyway, you know. That's the way things happen. A championship game, it goes one way or the other. You can't do anything about it. I wouldn't really blame the referee for that, you know.
I was going for the ball and I got scalped from behind, and the referee thankfully seen it.
No, the Corkbacks don't agree with that.
Well, let them. I was going through, the ball came down from the air, I seen the ball was coming through to get it, and just as I was going for it, I got a kick from the back of the ankle there.
Had you the ball in your hands, David?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, so you were in absolutely no doubt at all?
None at all, no. Well, they got their free before that Cork got was fairly tight too, so, you know, one as good as the other.
Yeah, I was right behind David, and I felt as he was going through, he got got a slight nudge in the back, and he went down. So the way Tommy Sugru was playing the game, he was given all those sort of incidents as frees. He was very consistent all through the game. Their free about 30 seconds before that was the exact same sort of incident.
Yeah. Dave Barry going through.
So Dave Barry, yeah. Dave Barry got a nudge in the back too, and we felt very angry about that at the time. But looking back on the match, Tommy was just being consistent. He was giving those sort of incidents. He was pulling lads up for those sort of incidents. So I felt both incidents were probably frees.
Well, I saw the ball when I don't know what the free was for, number one. Nobody has told me yet what the way he gave the free. The ball dropped. I saw a Cork player dropping at a clear view of the ball. I don't know whether he gave it as a pick-up or not, but if he did, there was at least 6-7 inches between the grass and the ball as the Cork player went to gather it.
Oh, you could see it, Jim, but I'd never comment on what a referee has to say in a situation like that. I'm not playing in the middle of the road when I say that, because in the heat of the moment, with the atmosphere and everything else, the referee sees something, he blows the whistle, that's it. He allows to let it go on, fine. And if it suits you, okay, you say he's a great referee, and if it doesn't, you can say he's a terrible referee. I thought Tommy Sugru handled it very, very well today, and I think both teams are delighted to have another crack at the whip.
Yes, witnesses for the prosecution and witnesses for the defence. Well, in years gone by, before the age of television, an incident like this would have probably remained unresolved forever. And maybe it still will be that way. However, this is how television recorded the incident for history, and the view of our isolated camera which was behind that railway end goal. And looking at the pictures has been Jack O'Shea and Enda Culleran. What do you think?
Yeah, I must say that my first reaction was that it should not have been a free, but having looked at it over and over again, I think that referee Tommy Savage was quite justified in giving the free, because definitely David Beggy was obstructed and he was in possession of the ball. If we just have a closer look at it.
Yes, now in slow motion, Jack, the two players to look out for, of course, David Beggy and Dave Barry.
Yeah, I think from where I was as well at first, I thought it wasn't a free, but here you see Dave Beggy coming in, getting possession, the ball breaks loose, and I think he was really knocked out of position there. He was the player going for the possession, and he was the player that was hit out of position. I think the referee, a very noticeable thing here as well is Tommy Shirker's position here in this situation. He's well positioned, the ball comes in, drops down again. Dave Beggy, you see him going, he's the player that's going in possession, and he was bundled out of the way there. I thought it was a free, looking at it from behind the goal, you know.
Well, Enda, one more look at the incident. Now, watch David Beggy. Was he tripped or did he go into that tackle? That's really the kernel of the question.
It is, yeah, but certainly he was obstructed in his effort to play the ball, and that is a foul in itself.
So, to sum up then, basically, you have no doubt that it was a free?
Yes, I would have awarded a free in the same situation.
Jack?
I think Dave Beggy was the man that was going for the ball. His eye was on the ball. He wasn't going to play for a free. He lunged at the ball, and Dave Barry actually put in his hip and seemed to throw him out over his hip, and I think he looked very spectacular. Tommy Shirker had a good position, and I thought he made a good decision at that time.
Now, I suppose it's the old cliche, gentlemen, but the referee does not have the benefit of, as we do, of all of these replays of it. Now, we've looked at it several times.
No, he certainly doesn't, but he was nearer to it, in fact, than we are. He had a great view of it. He was right on the spot.
Now, this is a look again, so in slow motion this time to give everybody an opportunity to really make up their own minds. David Beggy is the man again to watch out for, coming towards the camera now shortly. He seems to reach out for the ball but loses possession of it there, and there goes the trip or the fall over Dave Barry's leg. So you can make up your own minds at home what you think of it, and this is the head-on camera view of it once more. More difficult to say from this angle, and this is the picture that we saw this afternoon on the television pictures. It looked from that angle as though David Beggy had taken a dive, but the angle from behind the camera, I think, shows a different picture of it.
Yes, I thought it certainly did, because our first reaction was to think that David Beggy had taken the dive, but when you see it from the various angles, then it's obvious enough that he was obstructed in his efforts to play the ball.
I suppose it's very difficult for a referee, Jack, in a situation like that. Television will look again and again and again at the incident and analyse it as carefully and as slowly as possible. He had to make a very quick decision.
Yeah, Tommy had to make a quick decision, but as Liam Hayes said, I thought he had a good game today. I thought he was one of the referees that's really up with the play. He's involved in the action all the time, and it's a very, very hard thing for a referee to make a decision. In 1982, a decision went against us, and you have to forget about these things and get on with the game. And I think the Cork players will accept it when they see it tonight, see that incident. I think they probably have nobody to blame by themselves for kicking the game away, you know. So I think they'll be lucky to get another belt at it as well, you know.
You see, one of the problems about a dramatic late free in a game like this that sends the teams to a replay, and as one of the people that were interviewed there suggested, that the referee played for a draw. This is what he's going to be accused of.
Yeah, they will suggest that, all right. I suppose subconsciously the referee was quite happy to be in a position to blow the whistle for a free at that particular time, and that the game did end in a draw.
And Jack, I suppose you would share that view.
Yeah, I'd share that view. I'm sure there's a few people that wouldn't, especially Joan Lee Morton, the secretary. I think she'll have a tough job for the next 2 weeks with tickets again. But I think it was a good decision, and at the moment, you know, I think Tommy Shirker made the right decision.
Now, there was, and it was mentioned there in the interviews as well, an incident that happened before that when Dave Barry was going through that I think we'd like to take a look at as well, Enda, because there was a doubt about this free for Cork that perhaps may have balanced up the other one. Now, let's have a look again. Did he take too many steps?
At the particular time, I thought that he did, and that he didn't make a great effort to play the ball, that he was playing for the free.
Let's count the steps again now.
Yes, certainly he took more than 4 steps there, even though there were short steps.
And
but
particularly
he did take
there, where
more than
he's
4
trying to hold
steps.
off the challenge.
Yes, so there could be grounds for complaining about that particular decision as well.
And that, of course, was the free that gave Cork the lead.
That's right, that's correct.
So, dramatic stuff then to finish off today's All-Ireland final.